there is a very, very exciting and interesting and rewarding and fabulous ecosystem that's developing within the cryptocurrency space. And I'm going to be talking to two others who are experts about this fabulous ecosystem that's emerging within cryptocurrency. Apollo had produced the ultimate hardware wallet for your cryptocurrency assets, probably the most secure hardware wallet going. Use my affiliate link and the code for a discount. Hey, Liam. Hey, Cryptocito. Thank you so much for making yourselves available. Do you want to? You're so welcome. Do you want to? You're both YouTubers, and you both cover a lot of the Cosmos projects. I think you know far more about the Cosmos projects than I do. So I'm going to be learning from you guys. And for people who are watching, I recommend you go and check out their channels, and of course check out my channel, Crypto Rich BTC, my new channel because of the shadow ban on my main channel, Crypto Rich BTC. And I'm going to start by asking each of you to introduce yourselves, please.
Do you want to go first, Cryptocito?
You go ahead, Liam. Go ahead, Liam. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my name's Liam. Obviously, I'm from the channel Confident in Crypto, big cosmonaut as well as maybe a lot of viewers will know. So yeah, I guess just introduction-wise, I got into crypto in 2017. Ethereum, Bitcoin was pretty much what I got into, and then, funnily enough, actually, I did a Cosmos price prediction video, and there was, Cryptocito's name when I searched Cosmos on YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay, someone else is doing this sort of move into the Cosmos as well. And yeah, I guess for the last 6 months, just been covering Cosmos a lot, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Fabulous. And your channel's Confident in Crypto, and I'll have the link in the description below. And Cryptocito?
Yeah, well, thanks, first of all, for setting this up. I always love to connect with other content creators, and I've seen you also being one of the first ones to cover the Cosmos ecosystem. So I guess, especially the past few weeks, have shown that we're on the right train, right? IBC adoption is growing a lot. The whole narrative around interoperability is taking off and slowly getting more and more, understanding in the broader crypto community. So yeah, my journey is, I guess, similar to your guys. I got into crypto in early 2017. Mostly because of Bitcoin. Learned a lot about monetary policies and how money works, how gold works, right? How reserve currencies work and the fiat system. Took me a while before I started then to invest money into it. But since then, I've been really, fallen down that rabbit hole. And crypto, in my opinion, is just unstoppable. I remember like in 2018, 2019, when we were like in the capitulation and bear market, everyone gave up. People were calling it dead, right? And then we had a little bit of hope here and there. Some celebrities were talking about it. We're like, oh my God, this guy just talked about Bitcoin. And now it's completely normal that, on Jimmy Fallon or all these like talk shows in the US, like people just talk about their latest NFT purchase. So crazy what we did in the last 3-4 years. The president of El Salvador is shilling Bitcoin like no other, and Michael Saylor and all these guys. So I think from this point on, crypto is really unstoppable, and I've just sticked around. Like we talked about before we hit the record button, that, in these 2 years, 2018, 2019, I think this was really pivotal for me because I made crypto my career decision. I didn't just want to like blindly invest. I really wanted to understand the whole industry. And I've been part in different industries. Like I worked in a crypto startup in China where I lived for a year. And then I started doing events. I started building the communities around the world. And I'm so glad that I got into Cosmos around this time around a year ago, actually. And talked to a lot of developers on my channel, Cryptocito, where just at this point actually talk 99% about Cosmos because there's so much to cover. So yeah, and now full-time basically content creator and public learner. I like that term.
There is. And we're going to talk about, because you organized the Cosmoverse conference in Portugal, and there's one coming up in Colombia later on this year, which I'm hoping to be at this time round. So we'll mention that as well. But Liam, do you want to start by saying how come you got into Cosmos and why Cosmos? And then I'll ask you that, Cito, and then I might say a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear like your side of things as well, Rich. That'd be super interesting. But as for me, well, like Michael said, actually, or like Cryptocito said, it's a bit of a rabbit hole when you get into crypto. You start off a lot of the time with Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum as well, and maybe you see a few other things. Especially if you got into 2017 period. There's a few other things going on with ICOs and everything. And you know, my big thing with crypto was Bitcoin sound money, and Bitcoin was the future. And then, you know, all of a sudden I was like, wow, you can actually do computation on chain with Ethereum, right? So you could actually have programmable, you know, kind of applications which can lead to programmability, which can lead to all kind of like applications and stuff like that. So I just kind of went down that route. You know, I started off very financial. I started off doing charts, that kind of stuff, technical analysis, which I still find super interesting. But yeah, essentially, Ethereum made me realize like how big, you know, the potential of blockchain was. And I think all three of us can probably agree that there's a lot of potential sort of utilities. There's a lot of ways that blockchain can disrupt like the traditional sector. And yeah, so I was still doing sort of TA videos for the most part, but I was also starting to do like fundamental research. So sort of beyond just looking at price action, really trying to understand like what made cryptocurrency what it is, why it was valuable, trying to understand the technology, but not being able to code myself, you know, not having that technology understanding already. So steep learning curve, like Michael said, there's always something to learn. You're always learning. No one's an expert. Just some people know a little bit more than others, I guess, because they've been on the journey longer. But I switched to Cosmos because what I started like realizing, and this is when Polkadot started coming around, like I started understanding there was new chains out there that were doing different things, offered a different sort of solution to Ethereum. I think like the gas fees were starting to creep up, so Ethereum was getting more expensive. And then, yeah, at some point, I think I asked, you might know, like Ivan on Tech on YouTube, right? I used to watch his show every day. It's kind of what inspired me to make my own channel eventually, actually, was Ivan on Tech and people like Data Dash. But what I kind of like asked is, you know, what's the difference between Polkadot and Cosmos? Because, you know, Polkadot was like hype, it was massive, but everyone was talking about it. But I was looking into Cosmos and it seemed like it was the same thing, you know, to someone who's looking in. We know now there's a lot of differences if we're like inside the community, but essentially, like, Ivan on Tech said to me, like, there's no difference, it's just marketing. That's pretty much the words he said, because obviously he's got a brief overview of the ecosystems. He didn't know it in detail. But then I was like, okay, so if that's the case, like, why isn't Cosmos in the top 10? Why is it not in the top 5? And so I just dived straight into Cosmos down that route. And the more I've learned, the more I've kind of understood the potential of having multiple chains all connected. And also just app-specific chains, right? Which I'm sure we can get onto a bit later on. But I just realized that it was so much bigger than one singular chain to rule them all.
Great, thank you. Cito? What drew you
so for me, it was kind of like when I got into crypto, right? And I mean, in 2017, we've all gone through this cycle where we had the ICO boom left and right, and the next big coin that's going to replace Ethereum and the Ethereum killer narrative and all these kind of things, right? But then throughout the bear market, we had this kind of like narrative around Bitcoin maximalism that suddenly became a big thing, right? Even for the content creators in crypto. I remember like a lot of YouTubers started to exclusively cover Bitcoin because they're like, okay, all altcoins are trash. They're down 95%. But it became toxic really quickly. So I remember like late 2019, early 2020, I think was the peak. And I was pretty much, because I always understood that cryptocurrency revolution is more like the establishment of a new internet, right? Where you have multiple versions, variations, and whether it's geographically or for different use cases or for different niches, right? In the industry. I mean, there's probably going to be millions of blockchains. That's my understanding how I view crypto. So this whole idea that there's a chain that connects them all or a technology that connects them all always stuck with me, right? And I said earlier, when I was living in China for a year, back then even we had interoperability protocols. Like back then it was ION, I think ALTCOIN from Korea, and also OneChain. They were like one of the first ones that kind of like ingrained this idea in me. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, but so far they haven't really done anything. And then when I learned about Polkadot, actually before I learned about Cosmos, I learned about Polkadot. I was like, this is really, really huge. Like Polkadot is going to blow up just because, you know, they actually tried to tackle interoperability. But then shortly after, I don't know why I had a bag of atoms, and I was like, okay, either I start doing my like deep research or I just sell them. And I chose to do my research, which is something I'm really happy for. And then just also like the way, I mean, Liam and everyone can confirm this, like when you start talking about Cosmos publicly, suddenly developers will hit you up, they will respond to you, right? They're super active, they will jump on calls with you, they will explain you things. And I was just so excited to see that Jack Sample, and back then for me, he was like, oh my God, this is a lead developer of Cosmos. Like, why would he even take the time to like jump on a call with me, right? Back then I had no big following. But he walked me through this was pre-IBC, what the idea of IBC is, how it works and how it's supposed to work, and what it brings for the crypto industry. But yeah, so that was my entry point into Cosmos, and the rest from there is history. I mean, I just got really, really deep into it, talked to a lot of developers throughout the whole year, 2021. And since then, like also Liam said, I learned the differences to Polkadot, how IBC kind of like functions, at least on a kind of like bird's eye view, right? Not on a technical layer, because I'm also not a developer or a coder or something like that. But yeah, so that was my journey, and the whole ecosystem is booming right now. So many coins and projects that are coming up and doing great stuff. So that's why
we are early. The three of us are early, and if any of you, if you haven't got into the Cosmos ecosystem, do check it out. You are still early. This one will run and run. A long, long way to go. Okay. Well, if I may say how I got into it. So I'm a child protection social worker. So of course I have this very intrusive job where I get into people's lives, but I also have a deep respect for privacy. So I'm into privacy. And I started broadcasting in April 2017, ran my channel then, and I got connected to Komodo, and through Komodo I got connected to Pirate Chain. And then through Pirate Chain, I got connected to the Blockchain Privacy, Security and Adoption Alliance, of which Sentinel is a founder member. So this was when Sentinel was an ERC20 token. And they said, oh, we're going to do a swap to Cosmos. And I was like, okay, kind of interested, see how that goes. And then in March 2020, I bought Atom on a whim. I did no research whatsoever, nothing. I thought, oh, this looks good. I'll buy a few. So I bought a few, staked them in my Exodus wallet, and just left them. And every now and then I'd go in, get the rewards, and restake them. And then end of June, Osmo airdrop. What's that? Osmo airdrop. And then I got interested. And then I looked at the Osmosis stacks, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is really, really amazing. And then I didn't have a lot of Atom, $500 worth, but I got, was it 1 for 1? I got the Osmo, and then I was compounding that like crazy. And then I got Junochain, and I was compounding that like crazy. And then I got Wawa, and then I got compounding that like crazy, and all the other airdrops. I'm like, oh my God. And I work part-time 3 days a week as a child protection social worker. I don't need the money from social work anymore. And that's in 6-7 months of compounding like crazy in airdrops. So now I do social work. I mean, I want the money because I don't want to cash in crypto. My wife says we're going to feed the kids. Well, I don't know. We'll feed them fiat. We're not feeding them crypto. Right? So that's done really, really well. And one of the things I really appreciate it is how it's made a difference to people. So I have helped out friends and family by giving them Osmo tokens. Go set up a Kepler wallet. Here's some Osmo. Start staking it. You'll get airdrops. And I did a video with a friend of mine, and I told her about it in August, and she's now able to pay for her mother's nursing care from her Osmo rewards, which is just, so that's the thing that excites me most about the difference that it makes in people's lives.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, man. And I think that's like, you see that in crypto in general, right? People have made life-changing money that they can afford a very different lifestyle that they've always dreamed of. But especially in countries where you have very high inflation, or where, the average income is not that high, for them to make a couple of $100 per month through whether it's staking or whether it's liquidity provision, right? Or DeFi stuff in general. In my opinion, like Osmosis is the best kept secret for that, right? Like on Uniswap right now, or 1inch or Sushi, right? You can earn swap fees. You can even farm a little bit, but the fees will almost eat your profits, right? If you have a small amount of capital only that you can bring on the table. But Osmosis, it's feeless, right? Like I said, the initial distribution was for Atom stakers and holders, so you got it for free. And the APRs, I mean, if you started in June 2021, which is when it came out, actually on my birthday, June 19, 2021, and then a couple of days later, they launched the incentivized pools. I remember the beginning, it was like above 1,000%, right, to farm and staking rewards, like absolutely crazy. And 2 weeks ago, Osmo hit, what was it, $10.50 or something?
Over $10.
So, yeah, so people are, and that's just one side of the thing, right? The other side is, if you look at, which I recommend everybody to get familiar with, is mapofzones.com or Mintscan. You can see like the whole fundamentals of the chain, right? daily active users, IBC transactions, monthly active users, right? You can see how the chain grew over the time and how it decentralized over the time, right? You have now over 100, is it 100 nodes already running, or 125 even? I think it's minimum 100 validators that are securing and decentralizing the chain. 170,000 monthly active users, something like that. Market cap shot above 5 billion, 4 or 5 billion or something at the peak. Like, this thing has gained deep liquidity. It's not listed on centralized exchanges, purely decentralized, powered by the Tenement consensus algorithm, built on the Cosmos SDK, rolled out without VCs, without early investors, to Atom stakers and holders. Perfect, beautiful launch. And the farmers and the stakers have just, which is the community, which is the users, right? They can make good passive cash flow from that. So obviously, you always have to be careful with these things, but on a big picture, it was a fantastic launch. And the innovations, maybe we can talk about this later, that are coming from here with superfluid staking and now also the Cosmos integration on Osmosis is going to bring it probably to another level. So yeah, really incredible product, and took IBC mainstream in the first place. So really amazing. Yeah.
Incredible. And that is in just 6 months since Osmo launched, it's gone from nothing to over $10. Okay, it's corrected a bit, but then everything's corrected. And like you said, the way that it's grown and the projects that are coming onto the Osmosis decks. Liam, do you want to say what it is that excites you most about this ecosystem, or the difference it's made to you? Or
I mean, there's just so much that could be the most exciting thing. That's probably the most exciting thing in of itself. You know, I know it's like probably not the best answer, but you know, Cryptocito is right about you know, Osmosis. It really showed the potential of cross-chain communication and IBC. And I think they did that right because there was already such a strong like foundation there, you know, from what had been built, or, you know, the technology stack essentially that had been built. So you had the SDK ready, you know, we had IBC, you know, we had everything, you know, Osmosis needed. And then what Osmosis did is they just brought to market this incredible exchange with an incredible user interface or UX, with really good incentive structures to get people to add liquidity and compound rewards, basically an incredible token distribution. And that's really why it's been so successful. And it's so exciting that Osmosis is just like one of the first successes in Cosmos, right? You know, there's going to be so many more, and they're all going to be connected with one another. They're all going to be, you know, in a way like competing, but more importantly, like collaborating with one another. And I think that's one of the most exciting things. You know, when we look at like Ethereum, it's all on one chain, yet we're trying to build like bridges between, say, Ethereum and, say, Binance Smart Chain, or Ethereum and, you know, Polygon. But they're all like specific chains, right? It's specifically designed to bridge Ethereum to one other chain. But like, what's exciting about Cosmos is it's like every chain is ready to go with a generic bridge that can connect one another together. So for me, it's just the ecosystem itself. There's no one specific thing that really excites me the most. I'm really keen on NFTs. I will say that because, you know, we've had DeFi do really well with Osmosis leading the pack, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg with DeFi. You know, Osmosis has got things like liquid staking or superfluid staking, should I say, in their case, coming, and they've got other innovations. I think, you know, every chain is trying to implement CosmWasm. You know, Injective are looking to implement it. Osmosis is, I know Condex is working on CosmWasm as well. I think Juno already has CosmWasm. So, you know, basically it's like, you know, everyone's innovating. And this exchange, this DeFi exchange, is just the beginning of a DeFi, because we're going to have things like Kava doing some more stuff. We're going to have Umi, you know, lending and borrowing sort of cross-chain. But what we haven't really got yet is like these cross-chain NFTs. We've got Stash App from Secret Network. And I think we had, you know, Uptick or something. I'm not sure really about them, but they don't really seem to be in the conversation. I don't know why. But we have like Stash App, and, you know, we still have Stargaze to launch their actual NFT minting and the rest of it. And we also have Asset Mantle. We also have OmniFlix. And there's just so many things you can do with NFTs. Passage and Strange Clan. Have to mention them, otherwise, you know, the community. Oh
my God, Liam! Now just to put, there's too much. There's too much.
I know.
And it's still very young. It's still very young. I'm like, oh my God, and I have to prune my assets because, you know, going through my Kepler wallet takes too long to stake and claim.
There's always like one asset you forget. There's always like one asset you forget to compound or stake. It happens all the time.
That's right. It's like, oh my God, it's too much to keep up. Sorry, I cut into anything else. Please rattle them off.
But the thing is also, if you forget to mention one coin here on this video, the community is going to call you out for that. So you better mention all of them.
That's right.
Strange Clan and Passage is also a big one because they're combining gaming with NFTs. So you have in-game NFTs that you can build your own kind of like community, and you can build your own space within that game. So that's incredibly innovative, and it's all powered by Cosmos technology and also Akash for the computing. So man, there's so much. I mean, you can tell it from me, and like we're so excited about it. And
Yes.
yeah, but I understand, like, if you're new to this, like, I mean, not you, but like the listeners, you hear these like 10 different projects, and like, man, there's already too much. Like, I don't even know where to start. But yes, slowly getting into it, getting familiar with some projects, start following some accounts on Twitter, and you'll get a sense for, you know, how big the ecosystem is going to be, and it's being established right now in front of our eyes.
Yep. And I think the foundational ones, in my opinion, Atom, because that is the core coin of the whole ecosystem, and Osmo, because it's the governance token for the Osmosis DEX, which is just a fabulous, beautiful DEX, and it is feeless. You can do transactions and send for no fee, and they're fast. Just something else.
Can I add? So I think we should explain a little bit how Cosmos is structured and architectured. Should we talk a little bit about that, or did you have another topic in mind?
I think both of you are more qualified to talk about that. My expertise is in human beings, especially little children, rather than crypto.
No, I think you're already very familiar and knowledgeable on Cosmos. But so especially in the last, I think especially in the last few weeks, there have been a lot of debates, like how about even the determination, right? How do we name the chain on which Atom resides, right? Because in fact, Cosmos is the name of the entire project, of the entire ecosystem, right? It's a network of blockchains, an internet of blockchains. But then you have Atom, which is the native asset of the Cosmos Hub. So in fact, the Cosmos Hub is just an individual sovereign layer 1 blockchain that is equal to, let's say, Osmosis or SIFT or any other chain, right? Region Network, Akash, and all these other chains. But obviously, the Cosmos Hub has been the first chain to implement IBC, the first chain to run Tenement and to be built on the Cosmos SDK, right? So it's kind of like this OG chain, which is why there's now conversations to say, hey, why don't we, keep the branding of the Cosmos Hub just as Cosmos? Because now if you go on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, they just call it Cosmos, right? So everybody who's buying Atom, they say, oh yeah, I just bought some Cosmos, right? So that's kind of like how Cosmos is structured. Every chain is its own sovereign blockchain. And the way that Cosmos chains scale is basically, number one, through Tenement, which is an innovative proof of stake consensus algorithm that was developed in, I think, 2014, 2015 by Jake Kwan, then refined over the years with Ethan Buckman. Those are the two original founders of Cosmos. And then it actually scales through IBC, which is this interoperability standard, right? To what TCP/IP is for the internet, IBC is for the blockchain economy. So you can have application-specific chains that are just there to fulfill one purpose, right? You made a video about Chihuahua the other day. Chihuahua is there to be the meme coin on Cosmos, right? It's an application-specific use case. So you have this chain, then you have Akash, which is for the computing, cloud computing sector, right? That's their application. Then you have Sentinel, which is for decentralized virtual private networks, right? So you have all these like specific clear use cases that are separated from each other. But the way they scale, the way the entire Cosmos ecosystem scales is through IBC, right? Because it connects all these chains. And if you've ever done an IBC transfer, you probably either don't even notice that you just use IBC, or it's so smooth that you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like there's no other ecosystem that has it, right? So that's from an architectural standpoint. But still, so we're right now at the point where Atom has crucial adoption, right? It has the most brand recognition. It's on all centralized exchanges. It's on Coinbase. It's on Binance, right? Osmo is not on Coinbase. It's not on Binance yet. Maybe they want to list it, but I think nobody really cares about it. But so Atom could be this ultimate gateway into the Cosmos ecosystem, where you have deep liquidity on centralized exchanges. And also it could be the interchain service provider, right? So one thing that Polkadot pioneered was this concept of shared security, that you have this centralized relay chain in Polkadot that can lend security to smaller chains so that they don't have to bootstrap their own validator network, right? Because right now in Cosmos, every chain is sovereign. So you have to have a sovereign set of validators, right? Which takes time and energy and money to and conviction also, right? For validators to secure the chain. So with interchain staking, that's what it's called on the Cosmos Hub. The Cosmos Hub could be more positioned as kind of like this interchain service provider for other Cosmos ecosystem projects, right? which then would mean with rising adoption of Cosmos technology, Atom would accrue more value, right? And interchain security is just one example. There's also IBC routing, or Atom as a holding company where you could acquire other projects, and kind of like the valuation of Atom rises with a rise of the valuation of the entire ecosystem. So that's where we are standing right now. We're still very early, but I think it's important for people to understand, and that's my point here, is that the Cosmos Hub, which is the chain on which Atom resides, is a sovereign blockchain and does not, at this point at least, represent exposure to the entire ecosystem, right? So I think that's the point. Like, for example, if you buy DOT, you're basically betting on all the parachains because people have to buy DOT, lock them up to get a parachain slot. That's not the case in Atom. It's a very open democratic system, which is probably a little bit to the disadvantage of the fundamentals of Atom. But I think it's very, very, very healthy for the long-term success of Atom. So that's why I'm extremely bullish in the longer run that if IBC, doesn't get exploited or hacked or whatever, and Cosmos technologies proves to be secure and safe and scalable, I think that Cosmos Hub and Atom is going to accrue a lot of value. So I just wanted to share that a little bit on an architectural standpoint.
I just wanted to add to that as well, actually, on the scaling side of things, because Cryptocito is right. Like the cross-chain bridge between all the sovereign blockchains helps the whole network scale. But actually, interchain security in itself is basically a scaling solution, right? Because Cosmos is all about having multiple chains that each serve different types of applications. So we have chains like EVMOS, which might host multiple applications in some way, or we have chains like Agoric or Terra is a great example, actually, where loads of applications are on them. But what Cosmos allows, in terms of scaling, is you can just have 10 chains or 20 chains or 50 chains. And then the shared security element means that you can basically get these chains live very easily and just secure them with an existing validator set, right? So, imagine you've got a chain that already has 10 applications on it and it needs to scale. What does it do? It just takes that one of those applications and just moves it onto a sovereign chain and then just connects it to its validator set under the interchain staking. So in a sense, this interchain security actually allows the network to scale even further. And I think part of the tech stack that we haven't really touched on is the Cosmos SDK, which basically facilitates the creation of all these chains in a seamless or very simple fashion or way. So that actually just adds to the easy scalability of the network. I just want to say one more thing quickly, which is, Cryptocito is right. Atom doesn't represent the whole ecosystem at this point. I think it still gives the best exposure to the whole ecosystem because of that branding, just because of people's perception, and just because of where it's positioned maybe to capture value in the future. But there is still a lot of work to be done. Even shared security, that will be implemented by Terra. That will be implemented by EVMOS. That will be implemented by persistence. Loads of chains are going to implement shared security or interchain staking because it's just going to be an IBC module, right? As far as I understand, which just means anyone can just add it to their chain, basically. But the real difference comes with Atom being A, the gateway, like Cryptocito said, but B, just being neutral enough, because nothing's fully neutral, right? Because communities are biased, but neutral enough where it can offer this sort of security in a way to chains that don't have any competition with the hub as it is today, right? So it can offer security to an exchange, whereas Osmosis might not want to, or maybe an exchange might not want to get security from, say, Osmosis because it could have a conflict of interest because it's a competing DEX. Or, maybe a chain won't want to get security off of Terra if it's got its own stablecoin because it might be in competition with Terra's stablecoin. So, I think the fact that Cosmos is more neutral gives it more sort of positioning to capture value in the ecosystem.
Okay. Thank you both, right? Thank you. And listening to you, I mean, some of it I don't understand, but what I can get is how it will create it will make the whole system more robust because of the connections. Everybody will benefit out of interchain security. The other point that I want to make, this is why you should subscribe to Cryptocito's channel and also to Confident in Crypto channel, and I'll have the links in the description below. And that is because of how both of you are grounded in the tech and in the workability of the Cosmos ecosystem. So thank you for that explanation. There's a couple of things I want to cover, and then I think we should wrap this up. So one is I want to understand ION and what's happening with ION. Right, I bought some ION at the beginning. I wasn't airdropped any ION. I bought some ION. It's done very, very well. I have no idea I have some idea what might be coming down the line, right? But it is a token with no function currently, right? Okay, I'll buy some. That'll do. And then the other, I think before that, or perhaps after, let's do that after, is superfluid staking, which I refer to as liquid staking, which is very, 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 very exciting. So let's do a little bit on Ion. What's the deal with Ion? Cito, do you want to start?
Yeah, maybe I can start because I've been covering it a couple of times on my channel, and so basically the Ion is baked into the Osmosis Genesis. It's residing on the Osmosis chain. It doesn't have its own blockchain, and it was just this last-minute idea of Sunny, who is one of the co-founders of Osmosis and also co-developer of Cosmos for many years. Like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have this second token? And we don't know what we do with it, but we'll probably figure out a use case for it later. So they released it. In the beginning, it was just this random price finding, right? And it was dropped as an airdrop to governance participants and also SICA delegators. That's the node of Sunny on the Cosmos Hub. So that's how it came into circulation. And it's ultra scarce. There's only 21,500 coins, I think, that were minted. It has a max supply. And then the community started to like the branding and like the meme, right? I mean, or in fact, it was a meme coin. And then they tried to figure out use cases for it, right? So they looked into what Terra did with Luna and UST, the mint and burn model. Then they looked into other things like Olympus DAO and Wonderland and how they kind of like function with their mint and burn models or bonding models as well. So fast forward, I think first of all, in December, then we had this big clawback, right? When the phase that you can claim your airdrop expired. And in fact, more than 80% of the ions that were supposed to be airdropped were clawed back into the community treasury. So, right, in fact, only 5,000 ions are right now circulating. The rest is in the community treasury. So that makes it even much more scarce, right? That's why the price also shot to above $20,000 around that time. And then the latest state is that Sunny wrote this blog post on Commonwealth where he basically proposed the idea to ionize assets. And what that means is basically to generalize the concept of UST with Luna, right? If you want to issue or mint UST, you have to burn Luna. And if you want to redeem your UST, you're minting Luna, right? So it's back to the underlying, it's backed by Luna, basically. And in Ion's case, the idea is to mint and burn Ion to issue I assets being synthetic assets, such as could be, gold, could be silver, could be stocks or anything, right? With incentivized liquidity on Osmosis. In order for that to happen, they might also have to remove the max supply, the max cap of the Ion token. So that would make it not ultra scarce anymore. But I think for the long-term success of this idea, that would have to be one of the conditions. And they just set up a team, right? So they made an on-chain proposal a few weeks ago to remove the clawback ions from the Osmosis treasury into its own Ion treasury. So they will be able to fund the development team to exclusively work on this ionized idea, right? So that's the current stage. And I think it's a great idea, expanding on the concept of Terra with Luna and UST and just generalizing that. I think it never hurts to own some Ion. No financial advice.
No financial advice. That's right. You do your own due diligence. Don't go and buy Atom on a whim like I did. Liam, anything you want to say about Ion?
I actually don't know much about Ion. I know all I know is Cryptocito liked it. That was basically my perception of Ion. But it seems really interesting. I assume then it doesn't, Cryptocito, does it tie back to the Osmosis token in any way, or is it just going to be like a completely separate economy, aside from the I assets getting incentivized by Osmo?
I think the primary marketplace for I assets is going to be on Osmosis. So if there was actual organic demand for I assets on Osmosis, I guess at least some of the pairs will be tied to the Osmo coin, which would mean a side product of that whole success of Ion would mean buy pressure for Osmo, right? To spin up the liquidity pools. So and keeping the liquidity. So yeah, and overall, I talked with Jake, who is a good friend of Josh Lee, who is one of the founders of Kepler Wallet, right? So OG Cosmos people. And Jake right now is actually taking the lead on this idea, and I asked him, hey, do you think one day Ion could be on its own chain? And he said, yeah, technically long term, that's probably where it's headed to. So I think Ion obviously benefited a lot from the success of Osmosis, but at one point, if the iAssets idea and Ionize works out, it should potentially be on its own chain. So we'll see. But short term, I think it could benefit the Osmo price, at least to a small degree.
And it is very speculative because it is a token which has no use case. It's pure speculation right now, like a promise in the future, as was the case in 2017 when many projects launched. Okay, but there's something. Go on, Liam.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I was going to say that's basically where we're at with Atom in a way. I mean, it doesn't go as wild, but Atom's all about the promise of the utility in the future. But I think, with Ion and with, say, these Cosmos tokens, a lot of the bets come, betting on the people behind them, right? I was listening to Zaki Manian on one of your videos, Cryptocito, and like just the way he was talking about Atom, I was just more bullish on Atom because it was him who was saying like, right, we will deliver token utility to Atom. There's more, I think he was saying about ways you can like acquire blockchains, essentially, like buy them out in some sort of like, not underhand fashion, but roundabout way, essentially, and like acquire their, stake in them or sharing them, so to speak. So like, I think a lot of these Cosmos developers are super talented. So like you are speculating on like the development side, the innovation. And, I just wanted to point that out. That's kind of like where we're at with Ion more so, but like we're also at that point with Atom and Osmosis, Sunny being behind that just makes you very bullish on Osmosis, right? So there's a lot of speculation.
Yeah. And to add there, I think Atom, what the core developers have been doing over the past years is just try to focus on ship the core technology pieces, right? One by one, Tenement first, and then the Cosmos SDK, and then IBC, and now Cosmos, right? And it's a joint effort of a lot of different teams in the space, right? Tenement has also been working and contributing a lot to these things. And I think now we're at a point where you think about, okay, now let's figure out the positioning of Atom and the whole value accrual standpoint for Atom in this whole ecosystem. And of course, like you said, right now it's not there yet, but I think this is just something that can be figured out now because Atom has contributed and done so much for the entire Cosmos ecosystem, right? Osmosis initially was bootstrapped by the Atom community. It was actually funded by the Atom community because originally Sunny used the funds, the revenue that he did with Sika on Cosmos to fund Osmosis, right? And the team airdrop to Atom holders and stakers. So same for Juno, same for a lot of other projects, right? And we see 20 plus airdrops coming up now for Atom stakers and holders. So it's kind of like this voluntary shelling point in the Cosmos ecosystem that Atom is just not just being used as a community and liquidity bootstrapping and token distribution, but also in FMOS case and some others as well to fund entire projects, right? FMOS could only be started or revived because Atom holders voted to give 100,000 Atom to the FMOS development team to build FMOS. So that's why I think, like, sure, right now it's still in the stars, like which role Atom is going to play precisely, but it's already too big to fail, and it's already too big and too many parties involved, too valuable for people to just like let it go, right? So that's what I think.
I think
many things are coming there.
My point was just that you can kind of like get a feel for where a project's going because of like the people behind it and what's being talked about. So that's kind of what I was saying, with like the speculative side of things, is that Zaki Manian, the Cosmos team, what they've shipped, it makes you can speculate on the future because they're able to build, they're capable. And it seems like with Ion, it's similar in the sense that it's spawned out of the Osmosis community, and something can come of it because it's a really strong community. Sunny's always innovating, and that was just the comparison I was kind of drawing there.
Great. Thank you, Liam. Thank you. Now, there is something very innovative coming up, and that is superfluid staking. And I've mentioned this a few times, but Liam, if you want to take us into that, just, when it's coming up, what it is.
Sure. I mean, I'll explain what liquid staking is, right? And then Cryptocito probably knows a little bit more about the details of superfluid staking. I'm hoping anyway.
Are they different?
They are different. Yeah, they are different.
Even actually. More staking.
Yeah. they serve the same purpose, right? Which the idea is that you can lock more tokens up to secure the network, or you can secure the network more so. The difference is basically in the way that those tokens are locked up, or what they get locked up in first. So I'll just explain like liquid staking very basically, which is essentially proof of stake chains. In order to secure the network, you have to lock tokens up because you have to put those tokens on the line as a validator to produce new blocks, or have the right to produce new blocks and input data into them. Then if you do something malicious, you lose those tokens. So that's the way proof of stake works. So people delegate their tokens to validators, they get locked up, you get staking rewards. The issue with that is you have to lock your tokens up, and you can't go and spend your tokens anywhere. Basically, you can't sell them, you can't add them into DeFi applications, you can't put them into lending and borrowing protocols. And sort of beyond that, really, let me just think of how to put it. So, essentially you have this locked token you can't do anything with. But the second, part of this and beyond just that is you then have this problem of what if you can get more yield than you get in terms of staking from DeFi. So like staking yields on the Cosmos Hub around 14% a year, right? So that 14% a year is to incentivize securing the Cosmos chain. So what happens though if Osmosis, which they are offering like 50% to 100% a year on Atom, Atom pairs or Osmo pairs probably get a little bit more, but suddenly people are taking their staked assets, they're unstaking them, and they're going and providing them as liquidity on Osmosis. And that's a problem because the chain gets less secure. So what do? Well, essentially, you need to secure the chain, but you have to compete with high APRs in DeFi. So the only way you can kind of do both is through liquid staking. So what it is you take a locked asset and you issue what's called a derivative. And the derivative just gets its value based on the asset it's derived from. So liquid staking means you can get issued an asset which has a value which is equal to the asset that you're staking. And therefore it's liquid. This asset's totally liquid, and then you can go and put that into DeFi. So hopefully that's like a simple explanation. It might have been a bit complex.
No, that's good. That gave me the thinking behind it. And what it boils down to, I take my Atom, I put it in my Keplr wallet, and I lock it to stake it, and I get the rewards. But I also get to create a derivative of Atom, which I can then put into a liquidity pool. So I'm getting the rewards there. So there's rewards here, and there's rewards there.
So you're getting the best of both worlds, essentially. You're getting the staking and you're getting the DeFi yield. And then when you want to get the underlying assets back, you just take your liquid assets, redeem them, and then you get your asset back. So that's the way liquid staking works. The key thing is you stake the asset first, and then you get the liquid token, which you put into DeFi. But as far as I understand, slightly different with superfluid staking, which hopefully Michael or Cryptocito, can unravel for us.
Yes, superfluid staking.
Yeah, so just to add on the liquid staking thing, there's currently two big things in the works. One of them is P-Stake from the Persistence team, pstake.finance. Everybody can go there, bring fresh liquid atoms, wrap them, and then you get an ERC20 token representation that is backed by that staked atom, and then you can use it in Ethereum DeFi. They're in the process of implementing IBC, so hopefully there will soon also be pools on Osmosis where you can trade your STK atom. That's on the Persistence team, and they're also tokenizing other liquid staking, other staked assets, like X30 and.
Can I just say that?
Yeah?
I think they're going to be issuing assets on one of Terra's applications next, and then they're going to be issuing on Persistence, which is where you can have it in like Osmosis and stuff. I spoke to Avatej recently, actually, so that's kind of the roadmap, I think. So Terra first, then yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of like the one solution, but the thing for that is you cannot convert your already bonded atoms into STK atoms through P-Stake, right? So you have to like unbond them and then stake them through P-Stake, which is like a gap of 3 weeks that you basically lose out on staking rewards. Now, what's coming now with the upcoming, what is it, the Theta upgrade, I think it's called, later in March, or first quarter at least this year, is liquid staking as proposed by Zaki Manian, who is a core contributor and developer. And this allows you to convert your already staked atoms without having to unstake them as a staked liquid token, liquid stake token, whatever. Very confusing terms. But so I just wanted to say that these two options are predominant, and I think we'll see which one gains more adoption on the liquid staking front. But like Liam said, first you stake, then you liquefy that stake through another token that you can use in DeFi. Superfluid staking inverts that and means that you first use your tokens in DeFi. For example, on Osmosis, you provide liquidity, and we all know you get this LP token then. And what superfluid staking allows is that the protocol, the chain, accepts this LP token as collateral to be staked, right? And then through IBC, because if you provide liquidity, for example, you always have a pair, right? You have two tokens. Through IBC, you can even signal, for example, if you have the Osmo and Atom pair, you can signal to the Cosmos chain, hey, the Cosmos Hub chain, hey, by the way, you also have Atom here in this LP token pool. would you want to stake that, right? And then you can first do DeFi and then you stake your LP token. So you just allow the protocol a different form of collateral to be staked. But it is obviously backed by an underlying asset, in that case being Atom and Osmo, right? But there has to be like a continuous rebalance, right? Because you have to price in and factor in the impermanent loss also that you have through providing liquidity. But that's what superfluid staking is. Basically the inverse of what liquid staking is. And according to Sunny, and obviously I'm not a tech guy, I'm not a developer, but according to the guys that develop superfluid staking, this is a more secure way to make sure that you're adding security to the chain and decentralization. Because in liquid staking, for example, if you lose your tokens or your ownership, right, and then someone else has your staked assets, you could just unbond it, right, and you're actually harming the protocol. Whereas in this case, in superfluid staking case, you're sure that you remain the owner of the assets. So that's why. And superfluid staking is coming by the end of February. Otherwise, Sunny will have to shave his hair bald. That's what he promised. And liquid staking is coming in this quarter as well on the Cosmos Hub, so that we can all liquefy our staked atoms. And that's going to be really, really exciting.
Fabulous. And what that's going to mean for many, many people is increased rewards, because you get the rewards from both systems, from the liquidity pool and from the staking, which is even more exciting, and it's going to make even more of a difference to many, 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 many more people. And I think draw more people into the Cosmos ecosystem also as it continues to expand. Now, as it continues to expand, it's really, really important to stay informed. And I can think of no two channels better than Confident in Crypto and Cryptocito's channel to stay informed with what's going on in the Cosmos ecosystem. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Any last words you want to say before we finish up?
I can quickly say something. First of all, I do have a question, Cryptocito, with superfluid staking. I was wondering if you're still eligible for the airdrops that you'd be receiving, and also for the normal Atom liquid staking. Do you still get the airdrops as well? Because that's an issue I think people had with P-Stake.
That's a very good question. I actually don't think so, because if it's in a different form of collateral, it either counts as your airdrop for a liquidity provider. Maybe there's going to be a new category in the future where airdrops are specifically for superfluid stakers on Osmo, right? Like Osmo LPs now. A lot of Osmo LPs get airdrops. So we'll see. Maybe that's a new category, but I don't know, on a technical layer, how complex it would be to airdrop coins to superfluid stakers. Because for example, if you're holding your atoms, right, and you're holding them on the Cosmos Hub chain natively, you count as an atom holder. But if you bring your atoms on the Osmosis chain, your atoms are no longer on the native chain, so they're an Osmo. So you don't qualify for an atom holder in that sense, right? Even though you're holding atom, but it's on a different chain. So IBC twists the whole logic of receiving airdrops, and that's why people have to be aware of that. That's why I always recommend people just do a little bit of both. What I do is mostly stake my atoms in my Osmo natively on chain, chill, sit back, relax, claim and compound. Have a little bit in Osmosis LP, providing liquidity, even on SIF chain, on other DEXs, right? Get a feeling for other DEXs in the ecosystem. And then whenever new things come out, right? I mean, Umi is launching, Kava just implemented IBC, so they're also now getting more and more traction with their lending protocol. It just makes sense to use these protocols early on and maybe lock up some liquidity to potentially qualify for airdrops that are being built on top of these protocols. But final words from my side. I guess thanks for bringing us on here. This was really cool. And really cool to see also that more and more content creators are covering Cosmos now more and more, because that's what we need. I mean, Liam and I have been probably the one of the earlier ones, but we need support. So everyone who's watching, get into covering Cosmos on Twitter, on YouTube. Make memes. I think the meme culture is also really cool now. And Chihuahua and now upcoming Popmos provide the perfect ground for you guys to make cool stuff. And Cosmos is, I think, unstoppable from here on. So I think we're on the right train.
Very good, very good. Thank you both. Really, really appreciate it. Now, if you're watching and you are in the Cosmos ecosystem, throw me some ticker symbols, for your favorite Cosmos project. And if you've got Chihuahua, then I will settle for a few woofs. I got a lot of woofs on my last Chihuahua interview instead of the ticker symbol, but that will do. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the description below. Go check out their channels. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Cryptocito and Crypto Liam signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers.